Hi guys, it's Steph from IDRIVEACLASSIC. Now today's video I'm going to give you a mini life update before we catch up with Bron Burrell and we hear all the amazing stuff that she told me the other day, because honestly she was probably one of the most interesting women I've ever met, and I had to show you guys what we talked about, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. Anyway, you'll probably notice this video is late, so I said it was going to go up on Wednesday. It's now Sunday. You've also, I know because I've been getting lots of emails and messages, I've been noticing that videos have been going up late and you've been saying, are you okay? And if I'm honest, yes and no. So when I started the channel, I said I would always be honest about what was going on, and I wasn't going to sugarcoat things, and I wasn't going to be one of those people that pretended life was amazing all the time. So this is me telling you that life is not as planned at the moment. I wouldn't say it's not amazing. I would say that it's unexpected. So there's been a lot of change this year. I came out of a long-term relationship earlier this year, and I've had a second surprise in that I am now unemployed. So I'm currently looking for a job, and it has taken pretty much all my time. And it's not to say that IDRIVEACLASSIC is going to be ending or anything like that. It's just that as I am job hunting and as things are a little bit different at the moment, videos may be going up later in the day, they might be going up a day late, but I'm going to do my best from today onwards to get a video up every Wednesday, get a video up every Sunday, and also reply to comments, because I know that I've got quite a lot of comments to reply to, and it's not that I don't value anybody. I absolutely love hearing what people have to say, even the strange comments which make me laugh. Things like, are you going to show your feet in the video? Probably not, no, because that's really weird. Also about my tights, again, really weird. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a bit of an update before, because one of the things that I always think is really important on when you are in this position where you get to talk to lots of people is that you are honest. So I will always try and be honest with you guys, in that I'm hoping life gets back to normal soon. It's certainly different, and I think that everything, I personally do believe quite strongly that everything happens for a reason. So I think something good is coming, but I'm just not sure what it is. But in the meantime, I'm doing a lot of work in the background for IDRIVEACLASSIC. There's things going on with websites, with merchandise. So hopefully, in the next couple of months, everything should fall back into place. And with all the work that's going on and with all the prep that I'm doing, I'm really sure that the end of this year is going to be better than the start of this year, I really do. But anyway, without delay, let's have a chat about what today's video is about. So as you may know, I went to the British Leyland Autumn Rally, which was organised by a chap called Tom Morley, who is exceptional at not only organising but being quite on it with things as well. You should see his cars, are incredible. Anyway, he organised British Leyland Autumn Rally, and I've been going for a few years, and I went this year to do a video about it. And I met this sensational lady called Bron Burrell. Now, she was a rally driver back in the 60s, 70s, Miss Castrol 1970. Probably one of the most engaging, intelligent and incredible women that I've ever had a chance to chat to. And she was out there really smashing stereotypes back in the day. She's still such good company. She's just, honestly, as you talk to her, you just feel so drawn in. And I asked her, I said, look, I'm filming for IDRIVEACLASSIC today, would you mind being in my video? And she very kindly gave me half an hour of her time to chat about what she'd experienced, how her career had gone. And I thought at first it was going to be like a 5-minute thing, and then it turned into a half an hour experience. And I thought, do you know what, I'm going to make this into a whole video to show you guys. So without delay, I'm going to show you around Bron's car, which is an Austin Maxi. So again, British Leyland hero, it's an Austin Maxi. How incredible is that? Talk to you a little bit about that, and then I'm going to flip over to having a chat with Bron. Now, I just turned the camera on her because she is electrifying, so I really hope you enjoy it. It's something very different for IDRIVEACLASSIC, but I'm certain you're going to enjoy it. Now, Bron's going to tell us quite a bit in the interview, so I don't want to steal her thunder. So I wanted to show you this amazing car, which is called Puff the Magic Wagon. Now, if you've never seen it before, and I've only seen it in kind of pictures online and on Instagram and stuff, it's probably a British Leyland car with quite a lot of history. In fact, probably some of the most history that I've ever encountered. So this is an Austin Maxi, if you've never seen one before, and it was originally picked from the showroom in 1969, and basically it was picked solely for the purpose of being prepared for the hardest ever marathon rally that the world had ever seen, which was the 1970 Daily Mirror London to Mexico World Cup Rally. So Bron's going to tell us more as we go through, but I wanted to give you a bit of an overview. So there were over 100 cars which started from London, and only the first 50 to arrive in Lisbon were then shipped to South America to continue the rally, and at the end less than 25 cars were there to enter Mexico City. So Bron hasn't held on to this car for the whole time she's had it, and she's going to tell us about that and about the journey. But this story just interested me so much because it was an all-female rally crew, and Bron herself is just such an interesting character that I had to show you this car and I had to talk to you as well. And I'm probably going to give her, in fact, I am going to give her website a plug actually. She's got a website called puffthemagicwagon.co.uk, which I'm going to pop in the YouTube bio so you can have a look. But in 2020, they're going to go back. It's going to be 50 years since the crew set off, and they're going to be doing the final destination, which, not to give too much away, they didn't manage to make Mexico City back in 1970, so they're going to try it again in 2020.
It all started for me when I had to learn to drive. Before that, I had competition horses, and my mother said, "You're 17, you've got to learn to drive, and I can't keep driving you around the countryside." I thought, drive? Cars, nasty, smelly things that frighten my horses. But anyway, the lessons were booked, and I got into a dual control Morris Minor with this old man. I suppose he was only 50, 40s maybe, but in those days anyone over 20 was old. And he said, "Come on, here you are, my dear, this is what you do," very condescending. And so I said, "Well, okay, so off you go." So I set off, dipping the clutch like he said, and got the car running. And I thought, well, this is quite nice, I quite like this. So as I'm going along, I said, "How fast can I go?" He said, "See how fast you can go, my dear," and patted me on my left knee, which it didn't bother you in those days. It was just something old men did. So when I actually hit 70 with this poor old Morris Minor, dual control, rattling up and down, he said, "You better slow down, dear. You're only supposed to do 40 miles an hour, but I was hooked. That was it. Speed was my thing. I wanted to be in a car. So the next step, how can I assuage this desperation to go fast? I thought, I know, go to the racing school at Brands Hatch, which wasn't far away from where I lived in Surrey. So I went to Brands Hatch and joined the racing school there and started out in single-seater Formula 3 cars. And I was doing quite nicely in that, and I am a New Zealander. And there was a New Zealand producer at the BBC who came to see me one day and said, "Look, we want to do a film about you." Put on I think it was a programme called South Today, 6:30, after the general news. So I just said, okay. So I did this brief thing for her in the rally car. And then I found out it was going to be shown on a Friday, on the 6 o'clock, after the 6 on the Friday, certain day. So I thought, well, great, I'll watch that. And then I found out that I'd been entered in a race on the Sunday, and practice day was the Friday, and I had to go to Brands Hatch. At this stage, I'm at Secretarial College in Guildford, so I said, I need the day off. I'm going to the dentist, my fingers crossed. "Oh, that's right, my dear, you can have the afternoon off." So off I went in my mother's car, dashed off to Brands Hatch to get the practice in, so I could get a good grid position for the race on Sunday. A bit like Formula 1 today, where you practice 2 days before you do the race, but they were racing Saturday and Sunday, so the practice day had to be the Friday. So I get there and I get into the Formula 3 car and be lent, and I go off around the circuit, and I'm going quite well. And I find I'm 5th on the grid, and I know I can go a bit faster. So I said to Mike Budge, the owner, "Can I go a couple more laps? I bet I can get on that front row." He said, "Off you go then, off you go." And the next thing is I wake up in hospital. We'd agreed on this day when we're going to see this film. We were all going down to the pub that night to see the film. I wasn't there, of course. Everybody went to see it. I wasn't there. I've never seen the film to this day. Probably was rubbish, but never mind. And I spent the next 6 weeks in hospital. Of course, it's on the national news. So the principals of the Secretarial College know I've lied to them. Great lesson in life. Don't lie. You'll get caught out when you lie. You never get caught out if you tell the truth. So anyway, they gave me a bursary to finish my course, which was nice. But the car was racing on the Sunday. As I say, it took me a long time to get back on my feet because I thought I'd broken my neck, but I hadn't. And racing was very expensive, and I couldn't really afford to do it. And someone said, "Why don't you rally? You can do that in a car you drive to work." And I said, "Rally? What's that?" I didn't know, because I was a fan of Jim Clark, and he'd actually show me how to drive around Brands Hatch. So I was very lucky in my youth. I got to know a lot of the really good top drivers who would very happily give you a hint as a girl, because you aren't going to be much threat, are you? So when I could afford it, I bought a rally car, but I managed... Stupidly, what I bought was, I love the Healey 3000, so I bought, on the Never Never, a Healey 3000. And I was in Liverpool, working in Liverpool at the time, so I went off on a rally in this car. No one had told me at the motor club you need a sump shield. So I went off on this rally in this Healey 3000, and on the first stage, in those days they were stages, I ripped the sump plug out on a bump. Because of my racing history, I knew to watch the gauges. And I heard this bang, and saw this oil pressure drop, and thought, oh, stop the car. So I stopped the car before any damage, but the rally was over. But I quite liked it. I quite liked the idea of rallying. I thought that was quite cool. So I thought, I can't afford to rally this Healey 3000. It's quite an expensive car to maintain, let alone. And I don't do great maintenance. I'm lucky enough to find chaps to do it for me most of my life, whether I've had to pay them or not. Perhaps we'll cut that. And anyway, so I thought I'd sell my Healey, which I did. I did lots of driving tests and things, and did quite well on that. And I bought an X-Works Hillman Imp. That was more like the car I should have. So this was an X-Works, driven by Rosemary Smith previously, EGU 710C. And I had a lot of success on her. I won the Southern Counties Championship. I was coming sort of 5th and 6th in rallies with guys and their escorts. I had a brilliant navigator. Always helps to have a brilliant navigator who could read a map like a book. And I started off doing big internationals. Unfortunately, the engine in the Imp wasn't that strong. So I ended up doing in 1968 the RAC Rally of Great Britain, which was a 5-day event with 1 night's sleep, 2,500 miles around England, Wales and Scotland. Lots of forest, 98 forest stages ranging from 5 miles to 20 miles. And we're on the last day. At the moment, I'm first in my class. I'm the only woman driver left, woman team left. We're winning the ladies' prize, which made me in the world of motorsport. And we get to Yorkshire Forests at midnight, and there's a 20-mile stage on Helmsley, I think it was. And we set off on the stage, and half a mile in, throttle cable snaps. And we haven't got a spare in the car. Someone stops to help us. We can't find the spare. So I said, Joan, you'll have to get on the floor. You hold the throttle cable, hold the throttle open with a pair of pliers, and we'll get to the end of the stage and get it fixed. We've got a service crew about. They'll come and fix it. And of course, no mobile phones then. You couldn't ring, but your crew from the motor club knew they'd meet you at certain spots, and we knew they'd be at this service area at the end of the stage. So we drive 18 miles with the throttle held open, me on the clutch, on the ignition switch, whatever, to keep this car going. But by the time we get to the end of the stage, probably 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, I'm blowing white steam out the back, so I've obviously, my head gasket's gone. We haven't got time to change that. So we keep going, but we're going slower and slower, because you lose power with your head gasket gone. So we're now, dawn is breaking in this Yorkshire village as we're about to leave Yorkshire, trying to get to the finish, 300 miles to the finish in London, 2 more stages to do maybe, can't remember how many more left to do. And my service crew they're following me, and they flash me down, flash lights, which means stop, I'm going to talk to you. So I pulled over, and they pulled alongside, said, well, you ought to do something to the car, Bron, to make sure you get to the finish time. It's really important. I said, I know. So they said, just pull over. There's a lay-boy just there. Pull in there, and we'll do some work on the car. I said, okay. I pulled in, and without thinking, I switched the engine off. Now, the Hillman Imp has an aluminium head, and the minute it starts cooling, it warps. And quite honestly, the car did not start again after that. There we were, 300 miles from the first in our class, ladies' prize, my future assured as a rally driver, possibly. You don't know, you never can tell. Rosie Smith was out, Pat Moss had rolled it. I was the only girl left driving it, lady crew left, and we just missed out. Anyway, so I went on running the Little Imp for a few more years. We did the Circuit of Ireland, we had engine trouble on that, we did one other. I was doing quite well locally on one-day events, but the longer events, the car wasn't really very robust. So then, in 1969, I sold the Imp, and I bought an Escort twin cam. I tell a lie, I didn't sell that, sorry. No, next along came the chance to do the London to Mexico rally, because I was really irritated. I missed the Sydney. I didn't know about the London to Sydney. And then I read about it. I thought, oh, why wasn't I doing that? And I said, I had a friend who worked at the RAC Motorsport Division. He was secretary of the competition department, Peter Cooper. And I said to Peter, how did I miss it? I didn't know it was on. He said, I'll let you know when the next one's coming along. So he gave me a call one day and said, look, there's a London to Mexico coming along. I said, really? I didn't hear about that. He said, no. But I said, I know a girl who wants a co-driver. Give her a ring. I've told her you're going to call. So I rang Tisho Zahn. She said, we're going to do it in a Maxi. I thought, what's the Maxi? So anyway, he said, come and meet me. I'm living in Cambridge. So I went up to Cambridge, met her. We found Tina to come with us as well. So 3 girls in the car, 3-girl team. We had a lot of help from British Leyland competition department, and off we went on this rally. We were asked by British Leyland, did we want guns? We said, guns? 3 girls in a car that time of the month? No, we might kill each other. No, thank you. But some of the men took guns. We never needed guns, to be fair. And we had oxygen for when we were above 10,000 feet, because you'd be so tired above 10,000 feet. You were exhausted, you know, you didn't get enough oxygen to change a tyre. So we had oxygen, and off we set on this rally. We had paper knickers and the nets on the roof there, and so we were colour-coded, because we're all different sizes, and we wouldn't have time. We were driving for sort of 3 days at a stretch with 1 night's sleep, then driving another 3 days. So it was a long... We did 7 days around Europe with 1 night's sleep until we got to Lisbon. So off we went, and there we are on this little underpowered 1450cc Austin Maxi with cable change, 30-gallon fuel tank in the boot, 2 wheels on the roof, 3 girls, spares, and our few odd clothes on the other seat. And we were doing quite well. We got to Lisbon and we were in 28th place overall. We earned our right to get on the boat, because only 70 cars out of 105 were going to get on the boat. The idea was they make the rally hard enough so round Europe they get rid of the ne'er-do-wells, if you like. No, the holiday makers and the non-triers, if you like. They would drop out. So only the serious rally group would get to America. So we were 28th out of 70 was quite good. And we set off in high hopes from Rio. 2 weeks after the cars set off from Lisbon, and off we went, and I think we got down to 26th place in Argentina when we needed some service. The car was running a bit rough, and we decided there was something wrong with the manifold, and we stopped at the British Leyland service area south of Buenos Aires, and they shoved us to the back of the queue because we were privateers, and they had all the works cars, all the Triumph PIs, and all the cars doing it, British Leyland cars doing it, apart from us. So we got to the back of the queue. 4.5 hours later, we were running car 20, we should have gone 4 hours earlier, but 4.5 hours later we're still there being worked on. They'd got the wrong part. We had to have welded up what we'd got. Everybody had gone off in sunshine and dry weather, and we went off in hissing rain, got thicker and heavier and heavier and heavier. So what was dust on the pampas turned to grease, and 150 miles into a 200-mile stage, Preem they called them, which had to be done at an average speed of 60 miles an hour, which is nearly impossible. No one cleaned that one, I don't think. Well, but maybe they possibly did in the dry. We slid off into a ditch and we couldn't get out of it. It was full of water and we couldn't get out. And eventually we got towed out by a tow truck. They knew we'd started the stage and not got to the finish. No mobile phones, of course. You couldn't ring and say we're stuck. And we got to the end of the Preem. We carried on. The car was running beautifully. They shut the stage 20 minutes early. We're out 20 minutes late. It's been 2 hours in this ditch, to be fair. And so we were out of the rally. So we went back to Buenos Aires to decide what to do. Tina wanted to go home to her children, so she set off on her own. But we decided we were going to catch up with the rally in Puff. She was still going well. We were going to get to Puff to Mexico. So off we went, dashed up into north of Argentina, watched the rally go through from Chile, and thought, right, we'll go across into the Atacama Desert, catch up with them in in Peru, in Lima. So off we went. We went up this mountain, up and up, kept dialing down the amount of fuel going into the car. So we were getting high. We could see we were getting high. We got up to 14,500 feet actually. And there was this village, the only village we'd seen in the whole. This is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We'd set off at 9. And there's this village. It was like a western, with like a hitching rails almost in a dirt street. We could see a post office, and we could see one hotel. And we thought we ought to, because the car's not running, we ought to get a mechanic to have a look. And as we said that, we sort of stopped the car. And as we stopped the car, she died. And she wouldn't restart. So we thought, oh gosh, we better go and find a mechanic. We weren't too sure what was wrong. So we went in the post office, and our wonderful pidgin Spanish is, por favor, loudly as you do, being British, un mechanic, s'il vous plaît. No, that's French. Por favor. And this guy standing at the end of the counter who's burst into laughter. He said, oh my goodness, in an American accent. He happened to be the only person who spoke English in the whole town, but he was the manager of the local manganese mine. So I'll find you a mechanic, who came to try and sort the car out. It was a cracked, actually snapped rotor arm. Oh, we've got a box of spares, that's no problem. We got this box out with got rotor arm and all the electrical stuff in it. Someone had forgotten to pack it. No rotor arm in the box. So the car is kaput. There's no way of fixing it. So he said, well, we're booking the hotel. He said, but tonight, he said, I'd like you to be our guest. We've got the 25th anniversary. Talk about coincidence in life. I mean, we could have stopped in the Atacama Desert. We stopped in a town which had people in. He said, we've got a 25th anniversary of our little school. We'd love you to come as our guest, because most of the people here have not seen any Europeans, let alone a blonde and two women, you know. So we said, oh, that'd be nice, thank you very much. So that night we went to this party, which was lovely. It was lovely to see all the people and the children dancing and everything else. And we danced and we smoked and we drank. We were at 14,000 feet. We didn't need oxygen. We were fine. And anyway, they rung down for the Argentinier to come up from Salta to get us. So they towed us back down the mountain that afternoon. And we got the car back on a train to Buenos Aires. We flew back to Buenos Aires, told the British Leyland agent what was going on. The car was coming in. Could he please get it shipped back to England? And we then booked a plane to fly on to catch up with this. We wanted to catch up with the rally. So we flew on up, we went up into Colombia, and we got a little 6-seater plane over the Andes. It waggled its wings at this field to land when we got to Buenaventura. And we could see the boat in the port. Only boat in the port there, so we thought that must be the boat we're going for. And we got into the town, got our booking for the boat, and we got on the boat. And I'm cutting a long story short, so much happened between all of this. But we got on the boat and we managed to talk a guy there into giving us a ride to Mexico City in his car that was out of the rally. It happened to be a Russian Moskvich. And this lovely driver, Yuri, I now discover was a KGB officer, but we didn't know at the time. So we drove in this car all the way, following the rally all the way, on the rally route, all the way into Mexico City for the finish. And we got there, we did it. Poor old Puff didn't make it. So that was great. We saw all our friends. 21 cars finished the rally out of 100. It's quite a high percentage, not as high as London and Sydney. So we end up flying back on a British Caledonian aircraft, really nice, chartered for the rally, back to England, and my to-be future partner meets me there. He's borrowed a beautiful Aston Martin DB5 to drive me home. Very nice. And I was talking to him and I said, well, look, I want to go on rallying. So he said, well, come on, let's see what car we can find. So I ended up buying an Escort twin cam. I mean, I have to work hard for all these cars. Money doesn't come that easily. But anyway, I bought an Escort twin cam, and I decided I would do the rallies with him, because I could read him, I could teach him and all the rest of it. So we went off and did a 1970 RAC rally. We did lots of little rallies to get him his licence and all the rest. And off we went on the RAC, doing quite nicely in this Escort. And we have the one night in Blackpool. We've got a problem with the pillars cracking because it's so rough, and these pillars on the Escorts weren't very strong, and we could see the pillars cracking. So we had one overnight. We did the first 2.5 days, and then we had a night in Blackpool. We set off, and he drove the car to start off to go into North Wales to go to the first of the special stages, speed tests. And we're driving along, you know, just enjoying the weather, and we go down this little narrow lane, and I see gravel on the road and a 90 right, and I thought, no, he knows what he's doing. We hit the gravel, the car goes sideways, we go up the bank and end up on our roof on the road. On a road section, not even on the rally. So luckily, we've got a shutter screen, so we put that in because the screen is shuttered, roll the car back on its wheels, and The problem was, when we were upside down, I managed to get the kill switch to kill off the engine, but I knew there were cars coming down this road behind us, and I wanted to stop before they ran into us. So I dashed to get out of the car, and in doing so, I kicked him in the head, I think. I think he got concussion, but we're not sure. Anyway, so we got the car back on its wheels. Bless his heart, it started and didn't drop any oil or anything. We started, she ran, only the roof was dented. And we set off and we did the stages, but we're now doing it with a shutter screen in place, which is not very good, but it's okay, it's fine. But we get to Great Orme in North Wales. We've got to do a stage over Great Orme, infamous stage that is, and it starts to rain. Now the shutter screen doesn't like wipers and it's not watertight, so he's now got a sheet on his lap over the road book. And it's getting, so we do this and we go off into the night, into the Welsh forest, and it's getting hard. And we get to a junction on a road section at one point. It's a T junction. I say, which way? I don't know. I said, it's on the map. It's on the road book. Which way? I don't know. I can't. I said, let me look. I said, well, turn right. Don't be stupid, because he's now semi-concussed and tired. So we go on and we're getting later and later and later. And the end. About 3, again, 3, why was it always 3 in the morning, I don't know. We're coming out of Wales, and I just said, look, we're hardly getting to the start of these special stages while they're still open, let alone getting to the end while they're still open. It's getting harder to see, it's still raining, and I said, I don't think you're terribly well. So I said, let's just call it a day. So we stopped and decided we'd call it a day. Had a couple of hours sleep in the car and then drove on and got back to the finish, but we were out of the rally, of course. We hadn't checked into any controls. So I thought, this is not finished, this bug is not finished. So we had the car prepared, re-prepared by someone else, and the pillars filled with lead, and so they didn't break like they had done. And the car generally G'd up, and we did some more rallies that year. I couldn't do too many because I couldn't afford it then. And then we booked into the RAC again for 1971. This time it started in Harrogate. From infamous rally, from Harrogate it started as actually a movie, a video, and it was a year it snowed and snowed and snowed. They cancelled stages in Scotland because of the snow, but one thing I could always do is drive in the snow. It didn't bother me in the slightest. So we'd go down this hill to a start of a stage. Everybody parked on the side of the road, stuck, and we get down and think, oh, they've shut the stage, we'll turn around. So I'd drive back up the hill, and everybody's sitting there, and we stopped to help someone dig themselves out, and then we just kept going. They said, how do you do it? I said, oh, just drive, don't be silly, just don't be too powerful about it, put it in second gear, and, just drive it. So we'd go on, and then we got to Scotland. People were dropping out like flies. And we got to Scotland, and we started this special stage in about 2 foot of snow. Cars off to the left, cars off to the right. I wasn't being silly on the stage, but we were going reasonably fast, but not full speed, because I thought, I'm not going to go off like these other guys. We get to the end of the stage to be told it's cancelled. Oh, fiddle-dee-dee. Now you've got to make your way across to the airport, Preston, whatever it is, the airport the other side of Scotland, can't remember. Suddenly out of the blue came the guy who prepared the car, who was out of the rally in his escort, and he said, look, Bron, just follow me. Tony Fowles, the lovely guy. So we just headed from the east coast of Scotland to the west coast, flat out at midnight, 2 and 3 in the morning. The roads, of course, are empty. There's blizzard conditions, the snow's blizzarding, you're getting lumps across the road from the blizzards because the wind's blowing quite high. But that was the most exciting drive of my life, flat out across. I wasn't going to lose him. I wasn't going to let him think, oh, you have to go slowly because she's a woman. And we went like bats out of hell. It was so exciting because we've got really quite powerful spotlights, so we could use them. I didn't use them following him, but he had good powerful. So you lit up the whole, as best it can in the blizzard. That was such fun. It's one of the best drives I've ever done, I think. And we get to the airport, we get to Prestwick, I think it's Prestwick, isn't it? Airport, as a stop for a meal and, a bit of work on the car if you need it. And then we went down into the Lake District, and we did the Hardnett and Rhinos Pass. We get there 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's sheet ice. And the guys there standing around saying, what are we going to do? It's sheet ice. How are we going to get down? Because it's like this, it's zigzag all the way down. And Tony said, oh, just follow me, Bron. So off we were. So, okay, follow you. And I thought, if you can do it, I can do it. I'm not bothered. So we go down. At 190 right, was an adverse camera. We're sliding towards this sheer drop. And I thought, just keep driving. Look where you're going. Don't look downhill. Don't look down there. Just keep driving. I heard afterwards that guys had roped themselves from rock to rock down the hill. Wusses. So we got to the bottom. I mean, I thought, if he can do it, I can do it. And if he hadn't been there, I might have still sat with the rest of them. What are we going to do here? But he said, come on, bro, just follow me. So I did. And we got down. We didn't crash into anything. We didn't slide off into the rocks. Crashed down the mountainside, and we skipped off and down. And off we, I was surprised no one else tried to follow us, to be honest, because it wasn't as difficult as it looked. But it was sheet ice. To look at it, it was quite scary. And you mustn't use too much power anywhere. Just keep the car rolling. But give it power when you were sliding, just a little bit of power to keep you going straight. It was very good. Anyway, we finished that rally. We didn't finish brilliantly, but we were 60th out of 200 odd starters, so that was quite nice. And that finished the RAC rally, third attempt. And then that was 71. And April 72, my mother died, and my whole world flipped. I had to go back to, I'm a New Zealander, I had to go back to New Zealand and settle my auntie who'd come up over to help nurse my mother, who'd got cancer that December in 71. And I stayed there for a while, and then Rob said, for God's sake, come back to England, you know, I want you back. So I did come back, but I was on a shoestring, I didn't have any money, I had to get a job. I started up, eventually in 76, I started up a business. And interior landscaping, plants and offices around the south of England. And that was quite good. But now motorsport is over for me. I mean, I'm not in motorsport anymore. Just trying to make a living and get by. And then my partner, bless him, he was older than me. He died in 2013. And about 6 months later, someone said to me, I didn't know you raced in rally, Bron. I said, well, why would you? It was like a lifetime ago. You know, it was a long time ago. I said, how did you find out? He said, just Google yourself. And I did, and there wasn't much. But there was enough to see that this car was still alive, which I had no idea of. And I knew that Tish, who owned the car, had died. She was 20 years older than me. But Tina, who was only 5 years older than me, was still alive, and she'd given a talk at her motor club. So I immediately emailed the motor club and said, please put me in touch. I've lost touch with her. And she rang me up and said, oh, Bron, we've been looking for you. And she said, come and see the car. 2 weeks' time, August bank holiday, it'll be at the Fenland Fair. I said, oh my God, will it? So I went up to the Fenland Fair to see this car. And I got in, I thought, my word, it took me straight back to those days. And the guy who owned it said, drive it. Do you want to drive it? And Tina said, I'm not driving. I said, I'll drive it. So I started the car just. And then I couldn't find a gear. I couldn't get it into gear. The gears didn't seem very good. And then the clutch would bite your head off. Eventually got it running to do this parade around the show ring. And then when I got her going, I couldn't stop her. She had no brakes. I thought, how the heck did we drive this car around all those miles we did? You know, you're supposed to. Well, I think we covered something like 7,000 or 8,000 miles on this rally, and then the rest going over the Andes and all the rest of it. So how do we ever do that on this car? And of course, this car now has a 1750cc engine. And the rod change, when we drove it was the 1450cc engine, and a cable change, which was why we called her Path, was because she had no path. So it started me off in the rallying world again. And I've met so many people I used to rally with, old chums. In 2016, I said to the owner, look, it's a shame she's just a little show pony. She should be rallying, doing what she was built to do. I said, if I give you some money, perhaps we could get her out and about and do some rallies. And he sort of looked at me. And then, bless him, he rang me up and said, well, if you'd like to buy it, I'll let you have her for what I paid 5 years ago. You could have her. And it's cost me a fortune since to do her up, my savings. But nonetheless, we're having a lot of fun. She's won awards. We've come, the highest we've ever come is second in class, but we've come 13th overall on one rally. And the little car's running as well as she ever did, you know, having a lot of fun. So really, really lucky. And that's really in a shoestring.
Guys, that's me done for today. Thank you very much, and thank you again for everybody who's been touching base with me. I really, really appreciate it. You're all fantastic. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed some of the different stuff I've been doing on IDRIVE Classic lately. As always, if you've got any comments or questions, leave them in the comments section below. Hit like as well. Don't forget to hit share if you're enjoying the videos, because it's good to reach new people. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe, because by and large, new classic car videos go up every Wednesday and every Sunday, and I try and do different things from car reviews through to meeting people through to shows, so hopefully there's something for everybody. But until next time, take care and drive safely.